Play and Trade Guitars is giving away this Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul to one of you. How to enter? Subscribe to Play and Trade Guitars on YouTube, and we'll give it away when we hit 50,000 subscribers.
Hey, welcome back to Play and Trade Guitars. I'm John, and that's Zach behind the camera, and this is Play and Trade Guitars, where we play it and trade it. Today, we're taking a look at the brand new, just announced Faded series from Gibson. It's actually a collection of 6 guitars, 3 acoustic, 3 electric. Today, we're going to focus on the Les Pauls and the 61 SG. We'll look at all 3 of them, and then we're actually going to really focus today on a comparison between the SG and the Les Paul. Drop a comment as we go. Let us know which one are you in the market for, and when you're ready to buy, check out our Zounds link. We partnered with them to bring you these brand new guitars. And at the top, make sure you're subscribed, because when we hit 50,000 subscribers and we're growing fast, we're giving away that Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul. Thanks for hanging out. Let's get them out of this box and we'll compare them. We'll put them on the bench, talk specs, and of course we'll plug them in and play them. Let's get to work. Here's a look at the Les Paul Standard 50s Faded, satin finish. You'll notice right away the uncovered pickups. Here's the Les Paul Standard 60s Faded. Here's the 61 SG Faded with that Maestro Vibrola. So we're going to focus today on a comparison between the 60s Les Paul Standard Faded and the 61 SG Standard Faded. Let's head over to the bench, we'll talk specs, and then we'll plug them in and play them. Start with some neck measurements. Nut reading 1.68. First fret reading 0.80, 0.90. Slim taper 60s profile neck. Body thickness, one big draw of an SG. You have a thinner body than a Les Paul. You have a 1.34 inch body thickness on this. So like I said, big thing you'll notice on the pickups, they're uncovered. So it's actually the same pickups you'll find in the Les Paul Standard 60s, but they just don't have the chrome covers on them. So we have a lead 61 in bridge position, and we have a rhythm 61 pickup in neck. Solid mahogany body on this one. No cap, like a Les Paul. SG stands for solid guitar. The original Les Paul was redesigned to look like this, Les Paul, and then of course it was renamed the SG, and this is the 61 reissue, but with faded nitro finish. The bridge reading 7.5, neck reading 7.6, 3.7 combined. All right, in the electronics cavity, we have some nice hand wiring, Gibson 500K pots, SG style toggle switch, orange caps are a nice touch too. All right, so why satin? Pros for satin is that it gives a smoother neck feel. Some people actually prefer the feel of satin nitro finish compared to the gloss, which feels like you can stick to a little bit more sometimes, depending on the player. And SG pros are going to be the fact that you can reach all the way up here on 22 frets without being encumbered by that single cutaway body right here, the body bout. And SG is going to be thinner, so we'll get a weight on that before we switch over to the Les Paul. So even with the Vibrola tailpiece, we're at 7 pounds on the nose, so lightweight guitar. So let's hang up the SG and move on to the Les Paul Standard 60s Faded. Give you a quick look on the bench here. Natural back and neck, satin finish on the mahogany neck and body. You might be tempted to compare this to the satin finish Tribute, which would be a good comparison to make if you're shopping. One noticeable difference there is that you have the full mahogany neck on this one versus the maple, I believe it's a 3-piece maple neck on the Tribute series, which is in satin, but at a much lower price point of $12.99. This one, you're gonna be looking at $24.99 versus $21.99 on the SG Faded. And we'll start with the weight, since we just looked at a SG that was 7 pounds on the nose, 8 pounds, 10 ounces. All right, 60s style wiring. You can see the plate down there, hand wired electronics, orange capacitors, 500K pots. With strings out of the way, we'll start with some neck measurements. 60s is going to be a slimmer compared to the Les Paul 50s. I've got a nut reading 1.68. On the 60s, you'll get a slim taper neck. First fret reading 0.79, 0.88. So actually even thinner than the 61 SG that we just measured. Body thickness on the Les Paul is going to be a big difference from the SG. We're at over 2 inches, 2.02 inches. One thing you'll notice is that there's no pickguard on this standard, and I just looked in the case and there's no pickguard that comes with it. It's not drilled for one. So interesting choice. If you don't like a pickguard, cool, they don't give you one. So just something to keep in mind. And then uncovered pickups, but these are gonna be the same pickups that you'd find in the 60s standard. These are gonna be the Burstbucker 61s, rhythm and neck, lead, and bridge. And then you can get a look at that maple cap there and mahogany body. At a bridge 61 of 7.6, neck 7.5, 3.7 combined. So actually basically exactly the same as the SG, it's the same pickups. Good ring to it, there's nothing left to do but play it. Let's head over, we'll check out some DI cleans first. Same with the SG, and then of course we'll plug them both in, let it rip behind a track, and then we want you to drop a comment. First of all, is the Faded series worth it? This is $24.99 for the Les Paul 60s Faded, same price on the 50s Faded, and then that SG is coming in at $21.99. Is it worth it? Have you shopped? Have you compared it to the Tribute series, which is also satin? Have you compared it to the old Faded series from 2018? On the used market, what are you thinking about when you're looking at purchasing something like this? Let us know in the comments. Let's see how they sound. Let's plug it in and make it happen. All right, so we checked them both out. What do you think? Drop a comment. Which takes it this time? Is it the SG or the Les Paul? Or maybe it's no contest and you're gonna buy both. That's great, check out our Zounds link. But here's a few reasons as I play through that I really can tell the difference between a Les Paul and the SG. Number one, the weight. The SG is almost always gonna be lighter. It's just the way it is. It's a thinner piece of mahogany. Number two is the accessibility of the upper register. On the SG, it was designed with getting up high on those frets. And with the double cutaway, it's hard to beat that in terms of fret accessibility. Both have a really comfortable 60s style neck. Number three, I actually probably prefer the control layout on a Les Paul. It's easier to get to the volumes and tones. It's easier to get to the three-way switch. On the SG, it's a little more blocked, especially when you have the vibrola on there. Number four difference, the vibrola itself. I think it makes a really cool addition of tones on the SG. I'm not somebody who plays with a ton of pedals or different sounds, so for me to have the extra layer of tones available by just using that, the Maestro vibrola, I actually really think that's cool. The drawback of that, the Les Paul is gonna win every day in my opinion on tuning stability just because it's got that fixed bridge. These are just a few of the things that jump out to me. I guess talking about satin, people are either gonna love that or hate that. People say that satin is thinner. It is thinner. So in theory, as it ages, it's already thinner. It should breathe better. It should resonate better. That's kind of the argument. I can tell you more from a playability standpoint. The satin does feel fantastic on the hands. It's a nice playing experience. It's very smooth, very silky, and I definitely dig that. But let us know in the comments, what do you think about this new Faded series? Is it worth the money, and are you gonna pick one up? And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.